day, friends, and I say good day because we are right in the middle of the day. We're just coming up to midday on a Friday, and I have a new project in today. In fact, I picked it up from Nottingham yesterday because I was in Nottingham and a lad rung me and he wanted a guitar looking at, and I says, well, where are you? He says, Nottingham. I said, well, I'm coming to Nottingham, how about I pick it up? And there you go, and here it is. And look at this, how good's that? And it's not an EC1000, it is a Harley Benton. Again, Harley Benton SC custom line. SC stands for single cut, custom. It's got a nice matte finish, it is sunburst, silver sunburst, neck through, or at least a set neck. Your standard tom, bridge and stocktail piece there. Black Grover tuners, kidney bean, like so. Medium jumbo fret wire. Nice binding on the neck there. Roswell pickups, fine looking guitar, and it says I want it setting up in drop C with 1152 strings, which we've got here, is supplied. So we're going to go drop C. This is also check if any of the frets need any work, and if the nut needs changing, change the nut. Well, the nut seems to be, looks like a Graphtec. So it might be a Graphtec Tusk type affair, but it also could just be a graphite one. If it's a graphite one, it's still okay. No point knocking that out and replacing it. So I would say we're going to leave that nut in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check the setup with the strings on as they are. But I'd say that's drop C. So I'm going to go have a little play with this in the other room and play a little bit of metal with it. Then I'm going to come back, I'm going to do a mini setup or a quick setup with the strings on as they are, with the guitar as it is. I'm going to check everything over, get the intonation and that where it needs to be. Then we're going to whip the strings off. I'm going to check the frets, and if the frets need attention, we'll give the frets some attention. And we're going to take it from there, and we'll see what needs doing. I would imagine this is a volume tone, so master tone for both pickups. You'll have a neck volume there, a bridge volume here. I would like that to be the bridge volume myself, but that's just me. Three-way over here seems pretty fine. We'll get all this gunk off there. We'll check all the nuts and bolts and everything, and see what's what. So let me just get some things set up, and I see what tune it's in. And now I'm going to have a little play, and I'll bring it back, and we'll turn the camera back on, and we'll have a little look at what I think of this guitar. So, stretch the strings in, tune it up. It was in drop D, by the way, so just E standard tuning, just with a drop D on there. Straight away, as soon as I put my hand on the neck, I could feel the fret ends. They are horrible. They are so sharp all the way down. Let me just listen to this. That's the fret ends sticking over the binding. Every one. All the fret ends are over the binding, so they're all sharp. You can feel every one down there. Feels absolutely horrible. So straight away, these fret ends all need sorting out. Now, when I do the fret ends, I can't just do that end. I've also got to roll over the edges. So I may as well do a complete fret job on this, which will be a fret level. We'll skim the edges, we'll roll over, and we'll give them a complete polish. That, including a setup, is £135. And let me tell you, that is cheap for the amount of work you're going to be getting done. So that is going to be my recommendation straight away. I've altered the pickup heights as well. Not checked the frets yet. I'm going to have to recut the nut slots because we're going with a bigger gauge string. We're going with an 1152 set. So what I am recommending we do, I know there are two high frets because I've skimmed over with a fret rocker, but with the edges of these frets, but all sticking over the binding, with them need doing, we may as well do all of the frets. We're going to level them. We're going to skim the edges. We're going to redo the bevels. So we're going to do a bevel, a level. We're also going to bevel these in properly with a small file, and then we're going to have to recrown them and polish them. That in itself is a big job. There's 4 hours in that easily. It's something I'll charge £135 for. I won't charge for a setup, but these fret ends, let me just show you. Go up close. You can almost see them hanging over the binding. They are horrible. So SC custom line, it doesn't say deluxe on it, but it says custom line. Well, if that's custom, that's supposed to be good. Sorry, it isn't. Now, all you people out there, I know there are a lot of Harley Benton fans, me included, but not all of them are brilliant. There are some not good models out there. What is the point of releasing a model like this when the frets are so bad. Get the frets right, charge 30 quid more. People will pay it, because he's got to pay me 135 quid now, sort his frets out. One, they're not level, two, they're sticking over the edge. You go and ask the people what they'd rather do. Pay an extra 30, 40 quid on top, get a good nut on there, and get the frets done right. Those frets, if he doesn't want me to do the frets or fret edges, I'm not doing anything on the guitar. I'm not putting my name to it, because that's what it needs doing. So, I mean, it plays alright, it plays fine, sounds alright. Just, those fret ends need doing. So, I'm going to wait till the guy gets, in fact I'm not, I'm going to take the strings off. I'm going to wait, and then I'm going to check the frets, then I'm going to wait till the guy gets back to me. He might not get back to me today, I know he's working. He might be working till late today, so I may not hear from him. So this will be one I was expecting to do right now, but I'm not going to touch it until I've heard back. So we'll see how it is. I'll give you another little update very soon once I've got the strings off and we've checked the frets. So okay, a couple of other things. I was just checking the intonation with the old strings on. I can't get these saddles to move, or I can't get some of them to move. We just don't want to turn, so I'm going to have to get the strings off and have a look at this bridge. So what I'm suggesting is a strip and rebuild of this. Get the strings off, get the neck straight, check the frets. We're going to level the frets, we're going to file the ends of the frets. I don't mean just file around these corners of the bevels, I mean also the edges of the bevels are sticking out over. Listen to this, that's my fingernail. They're all sticking out, they're all sharp. I would not want to play this. So we're going to completely redo the frets, give the guitar a setup. Is it worth spending 150 quid on? Well, yes it is. Are the pickups any good? They're okay. I've been just banging out some metal in my room next door and they're okay. They're not terrible. People don't purposely go out to manufacture and make crap pickups. So yeah, they're okay. Will they do? Maybe, it depends what EQ you're using and what amp you're using, I suppose. Would I replace them? Personally, yes. So what do I think of this guitar in real terms? How much do they cost? Are they something like £200? So saying they need a complete fret redo, and I mean a fret level and the edges doing, and they're going to need recrowning and polishing. It's 135 quid job. That's including the setup. Then you want to look at, would you change the nut, would you change the pickups? If it was mine, I'd change the pickups and I'd change the nut. That's going to add, your pickups are going to cost you 60 quid if you buy some iron gears. The new nut's going to cost you 10, that's 70 quid, plus paying to get them done, another 30 for that, another 30 for that, another 60 quid, it's 130, it's 260 quid. Are these worth buying and spending 260 quid on? Again, couldn't you get yourself a nice PRS, used PRS for that price that doesn't need any work? You know, it depends what you want to do with it. I know a lot of people swear by these Harley Bentons. Are you better off going and getting a better model? Probably. One of the ones with stainless steel frets on and rolled edges. I think you probably would be better off doing that rather than buying one of these cheap £180, £200 ones. Just my opinion. But these frets are terrible. And just on that basis alone, I would not recommend this guitar. These frets are proper horrible. I'm going to get the strings off, and I'm going to try and get this right up close to the camera so you can see how bad they are. But I would definitely not recommend this guitar on the basis of these frets. Now, I've had one of these in before, and I don't think the frets were like this. I think the frets were pretty good. And this is the second one of these models I've had in. This is the SC line, or the single cut. But no, these frets at the ends, they are terrible, and I would not recommend this guitar for that reason. Now, if you want to go and spend some money at it, go and chuck £250 at it and upgrade your nut and your pickups and get your frets sorted out, then by all means, probably are worth buying. But is this going to be a £460 guitar ever in its lifetime? Absolutely not. So, up to you. As we were just before I turned camera off, I'm going to just clip these. I've just loosened the strings just so I can clip the ends, and we're going to whip these strings off. We're going to have a look at this bridge first when I've removed this tailpiece. The good thing about cutting the strings that way, oh, they're all stuck in there, look. So this has probably been stud somewhere. There you go. So there are a set of Diodarios on there. You probably get a set of Diodarios on them when you buy the guitar. It's probably one of the selling points. These strings cost about £1 to make a set, so don't think you're getting any great deal just by getting a set of D'Addario strings when you buy it. But we're just going to roll these up because these strings are knackered. They're dirty and they've certainly seen better days. So I'm just going to plop them in the bin like so. So this guitar has been dusty, because there's a lot of dust on the headstock. I would have thought that the owner's been playing this and he thinks them fret ends are horrible. It's not very comfortable to play, and he'd be absolutely right. So they do need attention. I thought this was going to be a nice £50 setup. Let's get some new strings on there, job will be good. And, that is not the case. So fret friends, what can I tell you about these ends here? I don't know how much of these you're going to be able to see. I don't know how the camera is going to focus. So I'm going to try and get the guitar, and I must have in mind that this roof is quite low. I can probably just stand the guitar up here. Yes, and I've got from the top of that headstock to my ceiling, there is about 4 inches. So let me get you here. So there you go. And I'll just pick any of these frets here. Pick any one you like. Look, nail gets trapped under all of them. I'm hoping that's focused in there. These frets. They're all sticking out over the fingerboard, over the edge of the binding. They are all sharp. They are horrible. Let me just grab a file and just show you what I mean. You all know my Valorb file. It's a Swiss file. It's a number 4 cut. It's the best file I've got in the workshop. It's got a flat side. It's got a lovely smooth cut to it. It's very smooth, but it's very sharp. And let me just see where I am. Make sure I've got a flat side down, which I have. These right on the edge here. You got a filing, look. They're all overlapping the binding. So they all need filing down. That's horrible. They're all sticking over the edge there. So what can I tell you? Let's put the guitar back on here. So I told you we're going to have a look at the frets, see if they're level or not. So I may as well do that now. So we are in a live situation. This one's going to go on the back burner till I've heard back from the owner. Lovely guy, from Argentina I believe, Juan Sebastian Mugaruza or something along those lines. I do not speak Spanish, so don't quote me on that. But anyway, there we go. So we're going to have a look at the frets. We're going to see what the neck's saying first. So I would say we're a 24 3/4 scale length. No, I'd be wrong, it'd be 25.5 inch scale length. Is it 25.5? Who knows, who cares? No, it's not, it's 24 3/4, as it should be. So let's have a look at that neck. That neck is, oh, it's just about straight. I would say give it a little pinch. It's going to be a 4mm Allen wrench, I'd have thought. Stick a 4mm in there, it's a 4mm. Give it a little turn. That should just have a neck nice and straight. This is a power ferro board, the looks of this. That's not rosewood. Okay. That is the neck, dead straight. We like that. So let's see what the fret rocker is saying. It's my trusty fret rocker from GMI. You know what this is, it's got 4 sides, precision flat. It has 4 different lengths, so we can check 3 frets at a time. So let's see where the frets are, and I think I'll grab a marker pen just to see if there are any high ones, and if there are, we'll mark them off. Straight away, number 2 is high, in the middle there. Okay, let's give you a mark, just in the middle. I'm not expecting this to be any high frets. That's good. Good. Number 4 is high in these areas. Area 2, which is middle. Area 3, close to me. Area 1, furthest away. So I've already got 2 high frets. Three high frets, just on the outside there. So we may as well just do the whole lot. That's 4, 5. So 5 on this edge. These edges of these frets are just horrible. We're there and we're there. I'll check all these again just so we're on the same page. I mean, they're not bad. A lot of them are fine. Just on the far side of this one here. So we've got 6 high spots so far. That is not bad at all, you know, on a budget guitar. But in an ideal world, there wouldn't be any. So my recommendation, you see, well, that's as high as a kite. My goodness, that is high. So it's 7 high frets. But this one, this is 15, it's 12, 15, 17, fret 19. This is sticking up like I don't know what. And you know it's sticking up, and the guy knows it's sticking up because there is a gap. I'm going to show you that in a minute. My goodness, that's terrible. So, these guitars to me, they may look good, they're a false economy to me. If you've got to spend 250 quid to put a guitar, not to put it right, but to make it better, why don't you just go and spend £450 on a good guitar? Go and get yourself a really good used PRS. You get a PRS, you get a brilliant PRS for 450 quid, one of the Korean made ones. You're not gonna go wrong, are you? You get an EC 1000 for 1000 for 600 quid used. You know, so nut is okay, it's a graphite nut. Frets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 high frets. This one's monstrously high. You've got 7 high frets. The fret ends are sticking out. When I normally do a fret level, I don't normally have to do the fret edges, but I'm going to have to do them on this one. It means I'm going to have to roll them over on the edges as well. So you're going to be getting a lot of extra work in there. I would have thought I could just do that for 135 quid. It is the price of a fret level with a setup. I can't really go any higher. But that fret is monstrously high. So let's just have a little check. And I'm going to move the camera in a minute so you can see properly. That one there. 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 And that one there is monstrously high. I might have to take that fret out, rebend it and put it back in. Because let me just take a picture of that. Because that is having a laugh. Let me take a picture of this one. Right there, Mr. Fret. Here you go. I'm going to put the finger behind it so we get some sort of... there you go. I kid you not, fret friends. This is the one. This fret right here. Look at the gap under that. Can you see it? There's a gap under that like I don't know what. So we're going to have to tap that back in, glue it in and sort that one out as well. So we've got 7 high frets. That is monstrous. So I'm going to let the guy know what I'm recommending. I'm going to put it back in its bag and put this one away until next week. So we'll put the truss rod cover back on, stick it back in its case. It has got a nice padded bag with it. Didn't come with it, I don't think. It's bought separately by Tortec. Looks to be a decent bag, to be honest with you. Oh, what else was I going to do? I was going to have a look at these gubbins on here, wasn't I? I put a screwdriver down somewhere. What have I done with it? I've done a great disappearing trick with a screwdriver. Okay, it's here. Here it is, it's right here, look. Before we go, I was having a problem with these screws, wasn't I? Now that is stuck fast, look. So this welded itself on there. Now I'd have thought. So again, it's Harley Benton. I'm going to get this pigging thing off because it doesn't want to come off, look. We've got them all the way in. Maybe we have, you know. Because sometimes they're not in even. All the way in or all the way out, it's going to be one or the other. Right, you come in. Is that heck? Okay. Let's take these all the way out, I can feel it. There you go, we've got it. Crikey me, that shouldn't be much of a problem. So I'd have thought this is probably dried out. We're going to need to get some WD-40 in there, I think. Let's see what we can do, because everything was a bit sharp. While we do move, they're really tight. So we're going to get some oil or something in there. They are really clammed up, so they do move, but they, oh. Okay, I get it. That's as much as it'll go. So I'm going to spray some WD-40 in there, probably even soak some WD-40 in it, or soak it in some WD-40, I don't know yet, because these are really, really tight. I hope it's not a silver one we just sprayed black after they've manufactured it, because that wouldn't surprise me with Harley Benton. So yeah, so there you go. So a few things to sort out with this, a few things to discuss. But I can't do anything now until I've heard from the owner, so I'll come back to you with an update when I have one myself. So I'm going to be redoing the bevels first on this guitar, and I've got it clamped in a vise on my other bench. We've got it supported each side with foam, so we're not marking the guitar at all. I've taped up the area where the file might slip, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be working using my Valorb, Swiss made Valorb file. It's a number 4 cut, super smooth but super sharp, and I have one flat edge and I have one safe edge, so I must make sure I've got the right edge down. That's flat edge, safe edge, flat, so let's go that way. So I'm going to be working this backwards more or less, but that's my safe edge there in case when I come into the body I don't want to hit anything. I've removed the pickup, so that's not in the way, and all I'm going to be doing is taking off these rough edges, trying not to come into the binding in any area, and I'm going to file until I don't hear any more noise from the metal, because that's the way to do it. We may ever so slightly get into the top of the binding, that will not be a problem. Some of the binding is actually chipped on the edge here and on the other side, but that already feels better on these frets. So I'm just going to work these frets until they are right up to the binding. It's not the frets done, by the way, we will be rounding over those beveled edges again. I'll show you that a little bit later on. So you can see how it's working, and already you can hardly feel some of these now. Still need to do more work. It's going to take me a while. I'm not going to rush it, it's going to take me time. So I will crack on, get this all done off camera, and once both sides are done I'll get you back on the other bench and I'll show you how I round off these edges of the bevels to get the rest of it right. Don't know why, but it's just much easier working this way. Not for you to see me, because obviously I'm going to be getting in the way, but working this side just seems a lot easier. So I've had the guitar turned over, I've already done this side, excuse me, in a couple of minutes, and I'm just going to wipe my file. It's just better this side, that's it. So I'll just check where I am. And that is perfect. And I've already done these. Now I'm going to be in the way, you're not going to see much, but it's just so much easier. And probably because I'm working, I've not got to worry about leaning over something. But just finishing off these just now. And again, just a flat file by hand. And I'll see if I can get out of the way there and just show you a little bit of how it works. And it's really easy because you just follow it, the neck. The same again, when you stop getting resistance at the angle you want to work at, you're done. Look how easy that is. Getting no resistance now at the angle I'm working at, which is perfect. There you go, and they are all, that's it, you can't feel those frets at all from this side now. So I'm going to get onto the other bench, just going to check nothing's sticking out anymore, and it's not, we're not catching on anything there, look. So we need to get up, set up on the other bench now, ready for rolling over the edges of those bevels, and I'll show you exactly what I mean in a couple of minutes. Okay fret friends, we are ready to level the frets. You've already seen I've done the edges, which were sticking right out. We're still a tiny little bit, but we've got to finish working them yet. We've got to roll over these edges. The reason we don't do that yet is we need to level the frets first. And in advance, I've made sure that the neck is straight, which it was and still is, which is beautiful. And I've been over the high frets with the leveling file. This is a diamond file, again, precision straight. Chris Allsop, this was Chris Allsop Tools. There's a guy somewhere in Britain. He makes these tools. I think I paid 30 quid for this. 30 quid, what a fabulous piece of kit it is. It's a diamond file, so it removes material quickly. And I've been all up and down the neck, just removing those high spots. And because it's quite coarse, it's a lot more coarse than the sandpaper we're going to be using. So we've scratched all of the frets in this direction. We're going to smooth that off. So to do that, we're going to hit all of the frets with a leveling beam. Now, how do we know when all the frets are level with each other? Well, what we do is we mark them up with, that's right, you've guessed it, a marker pen. And I'm just going to zoom in so you can see where we are. So there you go. So I've got a marker pen, a Sharpie here. It says Sharpie on the side. That's because that's what it is. And we're going to mark up all of the frets, the whole lot. Because even though we've levelled frets in certain areas on the neck, it doesn't mean we're all level with each other from start to finish. So we're going to level the whole lot. And how do we know when we're level? We know we're level when we've removed all of the pen. So we're going to hit this with a levelling beam. Now, a levelling beam has two precision flat edges, which I'm going to show you in a second. And it's to those flat edges we affix by means of some double-sided sticky tape and masking tape, and I'll explain that in a minute. Emery paper. I buy it on a roll, it's 1 inch wide, so is this 1 inch wide, and these are the two planed flat surfaces, top and bottom. And on the bottom I have some 240 grit, which is more coarse. On the top I have 400 grit, which is more smooth. Now the way I fix this to the beam is, first I layer masking tape is on the base layer once the surfaces have been cleaned up. Masking tape, then double-sided sticky tape, then the emery board. And that means when I need to peel this off and change it, I'm peeling off masking tape, which peels off really easily, rather than double-sided sticky tape that always leaves residue. And if you're having to clean the surface all the time, it's going to be, you're going to ding it and put scratches in it. It's not going to stay straight. So this is it. It's from Crimson Guitars, the beam. It's a good number of years now. Great piece of kit, and we're going to hit this with a 240 grit, which is slightly more coarse. Now, what you can do with emery is you can clean it and give it a brush, like so. And this lasts a real good while. But what we're going to do is we're going to hit this with a 240. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the full width of the fret. So when it comes here, we're going to overlap, and that means we're getting the full width of the radius. But all we want to do is just up and down. Okay, the guitar's moving, we prefer if it wasn't, but you can do it one-handed like this. I'm just going to do it as I do. And if we see the black pen left on the edge, we know we've got a high fret somewhere. And already I can tell we've got a high fret somewhere because we've still got black pen here and black pen on the last one. So we've got a high fret somewhere, so we're just going to keep going. And what I want to be doing is I keep eyeballing the width of the fret, because I always know if we've gone too far on one side. We've got nice evenness coming all the way up here. We've still got a little bit of black pen on the outside of these, so I'm going to find a high fret in a second. Just bear with me, I need to check my phone to see what's happening there. Okay, that's just a message from my wife, that's fine, nothing important. She's heading out. So I'm going to check the frets and find out where we have a high fret, because we've got pen there and there, just on those two. That is probably saying we've got a high fret somewhere. And it could be the other side, because these all seem to be okay. Okay. For whatever reason, we don't seem to have a high fret anyway, so we're going to keep hitting it with the 240. again, checking the width each side. So we'll remove the same amount of material each side because we've got the same width all the way down, material removed. The pen in this area is now disappearing. So we know we've got the frets level. Now I'm going to hold this with one hand. And that is looking really good. So I'm going to give it a brush. I'm going to check for level because that is looking pretty good. Where am I? Right, okay, we're going to go across with fret rocker again because I think these are all going to be level now. So far, so good. Beautiful. So all the tops are silver. That is it, the frets are level. So now all we're going to do is we're going to hit it with the 400 grit, which is smoother. And this is going to remove some of these fine scratches we've got. Don't forget all scratches going this way, and this will just soften up the frets a little. That will make the frets easier to polish later on. That is the frets levelled. I may create a little bit of fall off down this end. I do have a no, I don't actually. It's alright, I'm just murmuring at the moment. Just let's just check everything one more time. I'm not going to create any fall away. Something I sometimes do if I think the guitar needs it. This should not need any fall away. Everything's a level up there. So that is it, the frets are level. So I've got the bevels redone, the levelling done. The next part of the job is going to be the crowning. Now for the crowning, we need to cover the fingerboard. So I'm going to give the fingerboard a clean with some naphtha. Do that right now. Naphtha is not something you get in England. Well, it is, but it's not called naphtha. We know it as Zippo lighter fluid. And this is great. It's good. Give that a good squirt. That's fantastic. I need a clean cloth. And this is just going to dry out the wood just a little, just so tape will take to it better. It will remove any of the dirt that's off the space or filings. We will level the frets. And now I'm going to be able to tape up fingerboard because we need the fingerboard protected. I'm just going to leave the frets exposed, and where we've flattened the frets, we're going to rebuild that crown. Because these are flat top now, we don't have a flat top, we have them crowned. I'll explain more about that when I come and show you how we do the recrowning. The frets are now levelled and we've taped up the fretboard, just leaving the frets exposed. Now we already know that the frets are level, so we don't need to remove anything from the top of these frets. But what we do need to do is we need to rebuild the crown. Now the crown is that shape going this way across the frets, like imagine a D shape on its side or a C shape. And what we need to do is remove some material from the edges. Now in the olden days we'd have used a hand file, 3-corner file, and we'd have rolled it over. We would have done it by hand, but we don't need to do that these days because we've got files that do the work for us. And I use diamond files. These are 2 diamond files I have at hand here. Let me just grab a cloth. And this one it's called a Z file or a Z file, I suppose they call it in America, by Stumac, original Z file. And the great thing about this one is it has 2 cuts. It's a diamond file, so that means it's diamond encrusted on a smooth surface. It has a slight slope, long cut on the bottom, but a really steep slope, short cut on the top. And we turn it 180 degrees and it's got the exact opposite, as you see there. The good thing about this is it will not touch the top of the fret. So what we do is we take a marker pen again. I'm going to mark 3 up, like so. And we're going to file across the fret, and what this will do is both sides will build up gradually till we get to that lovely crown. And it being a diamond file, just a few strokes either way. Turn it 180 degrees. And there you go. And that has just left a thin black line down the centre of the fret. And we're going to use this profiling file, again, just to remove any burrs. And just there in each edge. We don't really need to go over the top. And that's it. And that has rebuilt that crown perfectly. So we do the same again on all of the frets, always cleaning the file after every fret. And what I'll do is I'll lift these up to the camera when I've done these 3. Again, thin black line down the centre, just coming over the edge. In fact, I'll show you those 2. In fact, I won't show you those 2 just yet. There's something else I need to show you. This is what I said about the sharp edges on the fret. And this is where we take another file, another Stumac tool. And this is for doing those fret edges. It's got a safe edge on the top, safe edge on the bottom, no cut, just got a cut on each side. And this enables us to just come to the side of the fret and roll over these beveled edges like so. And just remove any sharpness that's there. Really easy. You can do this in 3 strokes when you get good, like that. And that's removed any of those sharp edges. So these frets, you're not going to feel them at all down this edge anymore. That's 2 done. Got plenty more to do. I'm going to crack on, get them all done. Once that's done, we'll move on to the next part of the process, which will be the polishing. One thing I can't do with the guitar in the regular position, with the body this end, the neck that end, is I can't roll over these edges, not from the side when it's close to me. So I have to turn the guitar 180 degrees. So all these edges here, I'm going to do in one fell swoop, using again the Stumac fret edges, fret beveled edges file. And we've got, you see now I take the body up because I don't have an accident with the file and dig it into the body. So if we do slip, because we're doing it so light, we're only going to hit the tape, but I won't slip anyway. But it's a little bit different doing it over the body than it is at the edge here. You have to be a little bit more careful. So using the finger as a guide, just backwards and forwards ever so gently, because you can't just go right here. You can just do one big stroke and one over the top, and that's done. You can't do that here. You don't have a luxury of the space to be able to do it at the angle you need to do it at. So you've got to work a little bit better at these. Take a little bit more time. And I'm trying to try not to get my hand in the way. I'm just going to work it like so. Little bits of pressure here and there. Got to work a little bit harder, but for the same result. So take your time when you're working over the body. We're just softening these beveled edges, just so you can't feel them on your fingers. Don't forget we're going to sand over these as well later. So we're going to round them over anyway. We'll take some 600 grit and we'll just slightly round these over before we do the final polishing on the frets. Getting to the last couple over the body now. And that's it. And now, because we're got a body in the way, we can just give it the 2 or 3 strokes as we were before. So, I'm not going to take very long to finish these. Once these are done, I'm going to set the guitar up again, ready for polishing the frets, and I'll show you again how we do that in a short while. Okay, I'm going to be polishing the frets. We're not polishing them just to make them shine, we're polishing them to remove all of the scratches. I know we put scratches in this way when we filed them down. What I've also done off camera is I've taken some, I think this is 600 grit, and rolled over the edges, just making sure there's nothing sticking out, and then we've just gone over the tops of the frets just to start removing some of these scratches, because scratches are all going this way. And what we're going to do is we're going to sand with 6 grits of sandpaper, 600 through 2000, so 600, 800, 1000, 1200, 1500, 2000. But before we do that, this is all quite flimsy paper. Got some 400 grit here, and this is really, it's quite thick, and this is fantastic for all these scratches going that way. If we polish that way, it's going to remove all of those scratches. So I'm just going to cut myself the right size piece for doing the whole of the fingerboard. That will be enough. And this fantastic stuff. And all we're doing is polishing the tops and getting rid of those scratches off the top. And that's some scratches more or less gone. So that's your first run. So we're going to go with 7 grits of sandpaper all in all, 400 through 2000. And this is just going over the top, get rid of the scratches. The other stuff will go more in depth. We're polishing all of the fret. So this is going to take me a while. 7 grits to go through, 722s. 154 is it? So 154 different polishers, and then I've got to come back and do it all with steel wool to finish it all off. So this is going to take me a while. But by the time I've done going through with a coarse grit to a fine grit, the scratches are all going to be removed, and with the steel wool we're going to bring them to a lovely shine. They're going to look fancy, they'll be glass-like and beautiful when they're done. They won't be sticking out anymore on the sides. Perfectly profiled over the edges and over the tops. And a lot of work's gone into this. This is basically all I've done today in the workshop, and I've been here 4.5 hours. But I've worked on some other stuff as well for a small amount of time. But there you go. I'm going to crack on. This is, like I say, this will be enough for all of these frets. I'm going to crack on, get some done. I'm going to knock off shortly, so I'll probably come back and finish this on Monday. Just finishing up polishing the frets. I've been through with the 7 grits of sandpaper as explained, and I'm just finishing off with superfine steel wool. Just got these 3 left to do. And when we polish with the grits of paper, we get them more scratchless, but it doesn't bring them up to this kind of a shine. To get them to the beautiful shine, you need to finish off with superfine steel wool, or grade 0000. And it's just a matter of getting the steel wool, pinching it over a fret and polishing over like this. And it makes all the difference. So these frets are now scratch free, highly polished and glass-like. They are, I guarantee, that they will look fantastic. You don't really get how good they look until you peel off the paper, which I'm going to do right now. And let's hope and pray that the paint doesn't peel off, as can sometimes happen with cheap guitars. And to say this is low-tack tape, it certainly has got a bit of stick to it. Right, it's going to take me a while, so I'm going to do this off camera, because it's not coming off as easy as it normally does. Let's just see what we can do. And one more go. It's a very, very nice day, as you'll see with the, I've got the blind closed, but you've got the sun shining through, really bright. So praise the Lord, it's a beautiful day today. But here you go, and you get to see how wonderful these frets look. But let me remind you that these frets were terrible when it came to the workshop. The worst I've had of fret edges being sharp in this workshop. They were awful. So I understand why people buy cheaper brand guitars to do them up, but should they have a complete fret dress? Fret dress here is going to cost 135 quid. So your £160 or 200, your £160 guitar is now a £400 guitar, a £300 guitar. Your £200 guitar is now 335 quid, and so on and so forth. You know how it works. So I've got some tape residue to remove from the fingerboard here. Some oil will help us out there. Lemon oil, as you know it, it's actually mineral oil with some lemon essence in there just to make it smell nice, but it is, for all intents and purposes, well it is, it's just mineral oil. So I'm going to spray some of that on in a moment. Yeah, this tape is a low tack tape, it's certainly got some stick on it. You must remember in the past, I bet you remember some of my videos from the past where I had a Harley Benton and I peeled the tape off and it's took all the lacquer with it. You know, so a cheap guitar is a cheap guitar. I'm not saying they're all bad. What I'm saying is, sometimes you may possibly get a bad one. And this certainly should not have gone through quality control with these fret edges as they were, because they were terrible. Anyway, that's all, just about all of the tape residue off. A little bit more work to do there, but those frets look fabulous. So, got all the fingerboard. Then we're going to get. Oh, I've got to sort the bridge out. I just remembered. I'm going to get some WD-40 on these saddles. Try and loosen them off. So a little bit more work to go on this one. I'll back with an update shortly. So still a fair way to go with this one, but we are going to put the new strings on now. Because we are setting up for new strings, we're going to need to recut these slots, because these strings are going to be slightly wider than the ones already on it. So for instance, we've got 52, 42, 30. And from this end you're going to have a, well, count there, 18, 14 and 11. Closest I've got to 11 is a 10. I'm going to actually cut that with a 13, cut that one with a 16, so 14 will be done with a 16, and 18 will be done with whatever I've got closest to an 18, it's probably a 16, so I have to angle that and widen it. A 30 I can hit with a 32, a 42 with a 42, and a 52 with, I think the closest I've got is a 54. So I'm going to have to widen these slots just a little. Also, I'm going to alter the way the bridge goes. I'm going to put the screws at the far side, because I've noticed something. These notches this side are wider than that side, just by a little. So the treble side is here, so I want the screws going towards the strap pin. So we're going to stick those on there to make it easy to adjust. Now I've also sprayed some WD-40 on these saddles, just so they're a little bit looser and easier to work. They certainly are easier to work than they were, because I couldn't move them. So I'm going to crack on, get the strings on. Once the strings are on, I'm going to do a little bit of a setup just to see whereabouts everything is, and I'll come back and let you know what I've done, and we'll get these nut slots cut to the right width and the right depth. So the new strings are on. I'm just going to stretch them in first. Once I've stretched them in and got it close to, as much, well, I'm going to get all the stretch out of them and got it close to tuning, I'm going to set it up without cutting the nut. Make sure I've got the right amount of relief in the neck, making sure the intonation's set. Once I've got the right height at the 12th fret with the intonation set, and my neck set how I like it, we'll look at cutting the nut slots. But this is something I'm going to do off camera, because stretching these strings in takes a good while. want to get all the stretch out, or as much of the stretch out as you can. This is where people always falter with their own guitars, saying it won't stop in tune. I say, well, you stretch the strings, and we say, yes, how many times? And they say, what do you mean, how many times? I say, how many times? Some say once. And I say, that's not enough. So we're going to be tuning to drop C, which is basically D with the drop bass. I think these strings are too heavy for a drop C. I'd have gone with an 1149 set myself. But they're going to sound fantastic, because these heavier strings always do. In fact I used to tune one of my guitars down to drop A sharp. And even drop A sometimes. Drop A sharp was always nice. Now my problem with these pre-cut nuts are they never, these slots, we should cut them at an angle slightly bending towards the tuner in my mind, but they always seem to be cut straight, so we're going to work around that somehow. This one though, it's not cut very well at all. Hopefully we can get some more depth in there and get a better cut. So we're getting there. I'm going to crack on off camera, do my mini setup, and I'll come back and let you know exactly what I've done, and we'll get everything finalised. So I've done most of the setting up off camera. I've set the relief at 0.2mm under the 7th fret. I've got the action on the 12th fret on the bass side at 2mm, and at 1.75 on the treble side. That's the space from the top of the fret to the bottom of the string. Slightly high at the 12th fret. And I've just done the intonation. Spent a few minutes doing that, stretching the strings in. So what we're going to do now is we're going to cut the nut slots. I'm just going to check the intonation again while the guitar's laying down. Now it's going to show a little bit flat because I've done it in the playing position. Only a very tiny bit flat. A little bit sharp on that final, on the first string. So I'm just going to move the saddle toward the strap pin. And that's spot on. So we're close to full proper tune there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to measure the nut slots or the height of the string above the first fret. And I do have a standard set of measurements where I'd like to be. And on the bass side, the gap from the bottom, top of the fret to the bottom of the string, I'd like to be around 0.3mm, 0.28, 0.3. And on the treble side, about 0.2. So I'm going to grab me a 0.3 millimeters. Because we work in millimetres, we're metric in England. And we're going to measure the height of the string. There you go. And we are way high on most of these, I think. So we're going to cut the nut slots. And I need to go and find some nut slot files according to the width of the strings. So with the pack here, I'm looking for a 11, 14, 18, 30, 42, 52. So, closest I've got to an 11 is a 10. That may be too slight, but I do have a 13. We may get away with using a 13 on the 11. So what I'm going to use for a 14, let me see, I think the closest I've got is a 16. So that'll do. Closest to an 18 we have will be, probably again the 16. See where we are. Yeah, it is, it's going to be the 16. 14, I will use a 13 for the 14. So I'm going to use a 13 for the two highest strings. There's a 16 for the 18. We get them when looking at a 30. The closest I've got to a 30, I might have what we got here. Got a 32. That'll do. 32, 42. The closest we have to a 52 is a 50 or a 56. I think I'll go with a 50. And we'll just change it around a little bit. So just making sure I've got nothing closer. No, not really. So they're the ones we're going to use. So this one being the 52, we're going to do this one first. I can zoom in just a little. Now we are quite a bit high there. So to 52, we're going to take the 50 file. This one, now these Hosco files, see the size on there, 0.05 or 50 as the string goes, and we're just going to remove some material. We'll just carve into that slot, and we're just going to go at an angle each side just to slightly widen it so it holds the string but it doesn't pinch. And we're going to check the height. So I can still go a bit more. And this is a Graphtec nut, I believe. One of the Tusk, T-U-S-Q, not T-U-S-K, because it's man-made. And these are a self-lubricating nut. Now then, let me remind you, when you're cutting these, don't go mental. Be gentle. Because if you cut too deep, you'll be replacing that nut. And that costs time and money. A self-lubricating nut by all accounts. Just buzz in. So we would say that that is cut correctly. So I'm not going to cut now, I'm just going to smooth off, make sure there's nothing stuck in there. And that one is cut perfectly. Beautiful. Check again. Just buzz in. So the next string, the A string, not buzzing yet, we need to go a little bit deeper with that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to clean the file every time I've used it before I put it away, because that way it keeps them sharp for the future. Using a small steel brush. Keep your tools clean, because they're not cheap. This set of nut files cost me 125 British pounds. That's a lot of money. Though, saying that, worth it. I've tried so many different ones of these over the years, and these are the best I've ever had, the Hosco ones. Okay, next string is a 42, and we have a 42 file. So that's what we're going to use. So let's measure again. I want this a little lower than 0.3, so I want a bit more of a buzz. No buzz there at the moment, so let's remove the string, keeping the file straight but not cutting into the frets. Just a few strokes. Just trying to buzz so we can go a little bit deeper. Just going to angle it slightly back towards the tune. Now we do angle these back too much though. I don't. And we're just going to go in slightly at an angle again, just to stop it pinching, if it was pinching. That's nice, I can tell that's nice. Just a tad more. So I'm going to clean up this slot now, just make sure there's nothing stuck in there. Nice and gentle. And that one is done. Very good. So the next one we're looking for a 0.26. I'm going to get a 0.25 feeler gauge. Is this one, and have a little feel. Plenty to cut from that one. So that is a 30. It's a 30. So we're going to hit that with a 28. Oh no, we're going to hit it with a 32. Let me get my file back with 42. Give it a clean. Clean them before you put them away and they were ready for next time. Can't find, oh there you go, we're in there. So the 32 we're going to use for the 30 slot, so we don't need to jiggle that or widen that any more than it is. Just going to go straight in. Well, that looks low enough from where I'm looking at it. I can just tell that's low enough. That one's done. So the next one will be the 18. Clean this file first before we put it away. It takes more time to put these away than it does to get them than anything else. Go in there. Okay, the closest I have to an 18 is it really the 16? It is. I'll do some work here. So again, check the height. These are nice. So I can go a fair ways with this one just yet. So we're going to give this some. Now with this being a 16, it needs to be an 18. We're going to go in. And we're going to go at an angle to widen, and this angle to widen. It's not a very well cut nut, this, to be honest with you. It's only hitting the front of the nut because it's cut down too much of an angle. There's nothing I can do about that. That's enough. So the last two, we're going to be down to 0.2. I want 0.22 here, 0.2 there. I can go a little bit, I'll probably 0.22 on each. I'm going to go with 0.25 millimeters, that is, and see where we are. And I can certainly go fair ways on both of these, which is good because the nut slots are cut really badly on these two. So I'm going to go with a 14, a 13 for the 14 and a 13 for the 11, I think. Yeah, these just don't want to open up anymore. The 13 is in a sleeve. It's a protective sleeve, but it's not just protective, it stops it wobbling about going like that because it's such a thin file. So for the 14, we don't want to go too much, so we're just going to go, and that is quite tight because that would have been cut for an 11 originally, sorry, a 13, so it's still tight for a 13. So let's have just a check with this string because it may not have just been sitting right. That's low enough. That's perfect, but it is a tight slot, so we're just going to carve into that one a little bit more. We don't want to make it any deeper than it is. Fine, and the last one, just going to check the last one, very high. So again, that's an 11. I'm going to go in with the 10 because a 13 is going to be too wide. Here's the 10, same thing in a holder. Just going to go in gently at an angle, and again at an angle. And that's it, we are done. Here we are, friends, we are all done with this one. And my thoughts aside, doesn't it look fantastic? And now it plays fantastic. You can, if you really press it, you can feel these fret edges, but playing it, you cannot feel these fret edges anymore. They would be ripping your hands open and certainly making your fingers sore, but that is so beautiful now. So we've reprofiled, not just reprofiled the frets. Normally when I do a reprofile, I do a level, a recrown and a polish. Don't normally have to touch the sides, but this one I had to do all the edges as well. I spent a lot of time on the edges, didn't charge extra for it. Charged my regular £135 for a complete fret redress. And given the guitar a setup, we've put some lower strings on there. We have gone with an 1152 set of strings. We are tuned down to drop C. Or close to drop C. Yeah, it is in drop C. I've just been playing it in the other room, that's probably why it's a little bit out of tune. I need to tune it in again, but that is it. Recut the nut, get the guitar complete setup, reset the intonation. These screws were a little bit locked. I've turned the bridge round. We'll put some WD-40 in there just to loosen up these screws in there, and that is the guitar all done. And it is it's Harley Benton SC custom line. Now, you know my thoughts on this guitar. Do I think it's worth buying them and upgrading them? No, I don't. Not if you have to have a full fret level and the pickups, the Roswell pickups. I know no one goes out there and purposely manufactures crap pickups. They don't do that, but they're not much. I mean, I'm getting a great sound in there, but I'm really boosting these pickups with an overdrive in front of my amp and really giving it a clean, massive boost. So it sounds really good on my setup. You could do the same. I understand why people buy these and want to upgrade them, but would I stick some bare knuckles in there? At £250, £300 a pair? You're going to need a new nut as well, and you've had a fret level. You're going to be looking at £250 with the guitar, £450, £500, so £650. No, I'd sooner go out and buy myself a used PRS, one of their SE models or the Bernie Marsden. Absolutely fabulous guitars, and you'll pick them up for a lot less than £650. I would stick some iron gears in this. I would stick something they've got close to the. Do they do a set that's similar to the Aftermaths? Bare knuckle Aftermaths or nail bombs or that kind of thing. I have put iron gear pickups in my own guitars and they are fabulous. I love them, and I'm a big Seymour Duncan fan. So I'm not going to get into the debate of whether are expensive pickups really that much better than cheap pickups, because that's another argument for another day. But I will certainly stick some nice iron gears in there. So let's say you bought this new for £200. You stick some iron gears in there, £65, couple of new pots, say £80 for your pickups and pots, £85, yeah? You got your guitar tool, that's £285, new nut, £55, that's £340. Now, if you didn't want a fret level, you'd have a really nice guitar, that's worth doing. But these frets, when this came to me, I could not believe how bad they are. And they still don't look fabulous on the edges now. I mean, they are 90% better than they were, but crikey me. No, I don't think these are good value at all, these guitars. The second one of these I've had in. I can't remember how the first one was, but it wasn't as bad as this on the frets. These frets were appalling on the edges here, but they're not appalling now, and that's a good thing. And the owner does want to upgrade the pickups later on. I will guide him towards some iron gears, because iron gear do a bare nickel type, I won't say rip off, clone. We'll say clone, shall we? And I love iron gear pickups. But there it is. Harley Benton SC custom, SC standing for single cut custom line. Custom line in name only, I would say, but that's just me. But there you go, it's all done. So I'm going to move on to the next one. I've got plenty on in the workshop this week. So before I go, I need to remind you my website, facebook.com/ng17. That's facebook.com/NGONESEVEN. I'm Victor. I'm your fret friend, and until next time, as always, God bless you. Certainly be good to each other, and I'll see you next time.